Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Redolessence, and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that this video finds you well. Today, I have my friend Carlos here with me.
Hi everyone.
And we're going to be taking a closer look at a fragrance by the company Parfumeur, and this one is called 603, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before we begin our fragrance review of 603 or 603 by Parfumeur, we tell you all about it. This is an affordable niche fragrance. I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, and pretty much anything having to do with fragrances, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner, and of course, make sure to click on the bell icon so you stay notified whenever I do put out these videos. So this is a fragrance that is based on leather and tonka bean. Those are some of the predominant notes, and as a matter of fact, they also list it on the box. So cuir, incense, and tonka. So there's a little bit of incense in here as well. Now, I don't believe it specifies what kind of incense is being utilized in here, whether it's olibanum or labdanum or benzoin or galbanum, but I think noticing how interested you were by it when you first smelled it, and I know you have an interest for frankincense fragrances, you probably pick up a little bit of that, right?
I got it immediately. It's a balsamic, it's sort of green and piney, and it's definitely incense, but it's not with a heavy hand.
Yeah, perfectly said. So the reason why I like this one is for exactly what Carlos said. It has that sort of pine resin feel to it, and it's one that puts me in the mindset of winter. Now, I know January just started, we're in 2021, thank goodness. 2020 was a rough year, obviously, but I'm still reminded of the winter time because we are in the heart of winter technically, and I have an affinity for pine-based fragrances, but I'm also picking up on a little bit of like this lemony pine thing that's happening in here, which is an aroma that I typically associate with frankincense, otherwise known as olibanum. So I have that really pleasant combination of the pine, that sort of woodsy quality about it, but I also have that incense that is resting on a bed of a warm sweetness, which I'm guessing is coming from
Tonka.
The tonka bean. How strong do you perceive that presence of the tonka to be?
I think the tonka is not so pronounced. It just adds a layer of creaminess to the whole composition. It's fairly simple. It's not complicated, but it's not boring either.
I was going to say the same thing. I feel like the tonka has more of a supporting role in this fragrance, whereas in the opening, you're really going to be inundated by the pine and the frankincense and all of these other darker ingredients. And I suppose perhaps it's a little bit spicy as well, because when you think of leather, there's no such thing as real leather in perfumes. It's really just an accord. And so a lot of spices come together to construct that accord. And so I'm perhaps picking up on a touch of saffron, maybe a few other spices as well. But for me, it's mostly about that pine, like you mentioned.
Yeah, the leather is not a strong component either. On the paper, I've tried fragrances where it says blah, blah, and blah, and then I don't smell blah, blah, and blah until I put it on my skin, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting here. So this is one where you really have to put it on skin to get the full effect of it. Of course, this is doing it justice somewhat, but it does unfold rather nicely on the skin. But it is a fairly linear fragrance, and so don't expect it to take you on a bunch of twists and turns. The way that it smells in the opening is pretty much what you're going to get in the dry down, with the exception, that it does tend to become a little bit sweeter as it dries down. What about in terms of occasions? When do you think this would be appropriate?
This is a daily. This is an easy wintertime daily wear fragrance that's not too loud for people in the office if you happen to work in an office atmosphere, and it's just light. I don't see this really projecting and having this huge sillage cloud. Excuse me, but it's one of those nice fragrances that gives you that nice bubble.
Yeah. So when comparing it to other fragrances of a similar DNA, It's not as dark as Vert d'Incense by Tom Ford. And then also in terms of the presence of the incense, it's not as strong as like an Avignon by Comme des Garçons. So I feel like the sweetness
All my
really helps
favorites.
it. Yeah, these are great fragrances, aren't they? And so that's one of the reasons why I truly have fallen in love with this particular fragrance. And they have a bunch, and they're very simply titled. So this one is 603, but I have 402 if I'm remembering correctly. And that was a little bit in Oriental territory, a little bit more on the sweet side, but this is awesome. 7 hours longevity you're going to get on your skin. Projection is fantastic for the first 2 hours. It didn't become a skin scent on my skin up until about that 5 to 5.5 hour mark.
Pretty
and
good.
So, no, it does really, really well. It's made up mostly of base notes. So it's a type of aroma that'll linger, but it's not overly loud when you put it on your skin. But all in all the information is going to be down below if you're interested in either getting a sample or purchasing this fragrance for yourself. And of course, lastly, Carlos, thank you so much for being on my channel.
My pleasure. One last question though.
Yeah.
Do they have one that's called 867-5309?
Comment down below if you know what reference that is to, right? I wonder if we'll get a Jenny commenting down below. But thanks again so much for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. Love you all. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, if you took something of value from this video. And again, remember to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.
Bye.